Angular in Automatic in the WooCommerce division. I'm glad to be here at QSAT giving this talk. I hope we all take away something out of this talk. So the topic for today is local WordPress development, what, why, and how. And seeing that there are no professionals here, I hope I add some value to your knowledge, because this is something which you would all be using in your daily day-to-day work. So I'm in a dilemma as to how I can add value to your knowledge. Let's keep it more of a discussion. I'll share some perspectives on what I have learned in the journey, because this is something, there are thousands of tutorials on the net and some of you might be using. So what I can add is give some perspectives and say, yeah, this is how I use it. Maybe you can take a leaf out of my knowledge. Yeah. So yeah, I'm reachable on Twitter at Menaka. That's my handle. Anytime you can reach me for any discussion related to this, I'd be happy to share my knowledge. So, onward. So what? My talk is going to be structured into 3 parts. One will be what? Yeah, it's very obvious from the title, what, why, and how. In what, I'm going to just touch upon the mandatory, why we have to use a local WordPress development environment, and what are the options available. And in the why part, I'm going to talk about why each of these options should be used, and how is some demos probably that could be the interesting part for most of you. If you find something too basic, please bear with me, because I think people are from different backgrounds. If you find I am misrepresenting some facts, feel free to protest. If you have some other perspectives you want to share, you can do it during the Q&A. It might enrich our knowledge. Yeah. So what? This is the mandatory slide. I kind of cringe to put this slide, but still I have to do it to launch the talk. We have all done it, right? We have all gone straight into production code and changed it. I have done that first when I first started. So we have all done this and then realized that that is not the best way to do it. So we need a local development environment, whether it is WordPress or not. Yes, we do require. So just touching on the motivation so that we can launch the talk. So what are the popular options available? These are some of the options which I have tried, though there are many options. MAMP, which is available on Mac and Windows. Example on it's cross-platform, it's available on all OS. And LAMP on Linux. WAMP on Windows, Valley, and nowadays people are using more of Valley Plus, which is on Mac. I have used MAMP in the initial days, yes. LAMP a lot. Just use a little bit of XAMPP and WAMP. Valley, very nice. But I group all these in one category of options. And the next 3 are my more favorite ones, which is local by Flywheel and the Vagrant environments. The most popular one is VDB. And I also saw some VCCW, so people are using and been exploring a bit of it. And I think the world is moving towards Docker. And these 3 are cross-platform, available in all operating systems. And for me, the clincher for these 3 options is that they provide isolation, and that kind of clinches the deal for me. I will be talking about isolation a bit a little bit later. understand it's not so popular in India. These are some of the factors I consider when I choose a particular environment for working. By the way, I have to mention that I don't use one particular environment. I have at least two environments which I use a lot, and there's another environment which I use a little, based on my requirements, so which I'll be talking about later. So ease and speed of setup is something which I think initially a lot of us would consider. Ease of use and adding more sites as our client base increases, we would like to have many things parallelly going on, yes. So that becomes very important. Resource consumption, it's not something which I think too much about because I am not yet reached the point where it becomes a limiting thing, but still I think for people who deal with more clients, it might become an important. In features, yes, depending on the project we are doing, yes, sometimes some features are required, which I will be highlighting. Isolation, yes, it is very important for me because I don't want to break my laptop trying to do something, installing something. Now I've seen people, my DNS mask is doing something and my internet I'm not able to access because of value. Oh my God, very dangerous. You could have gone for something which offers isolation. So isolation is something which is critical for me because I don't want my daily work to get affected because I've experimented with something and I've broken something. And we keep breaking things, right? And that's how we learn. So, yes. Lastly, when we work in a team, duplication of environments and collaboration is becoming very critical, very important, especially with remote setups that we are working with. This is becoming very, very important. So, yeah, these are some of the factors which I consider. There might be more factors to consider. Okay. So, moving on to the why. Why would you use one of these plans, lamps? That is, it's very easy to set up and understand when you just start thinking about local environments. That's probably the easiest to do. Less resources are consumed, obviously, because you're not doing anything apart from setting up the sites. I'm not able to think of many other instances for my work, but maybe if it suits your work, it could work. Value and Value Plus, they are easy to set up, very, very easy to set up. I did try, but as I said, people have broken their daily work because of this. I keep hearing complaints, so, and less resources consumed, yes. Probably the biggest downside for me for Valley is that it's available only on Mac, and I'm a very, very great user of Mac. I largely work with Linux. So, yeah. Valley is something which is very new. I just tried for a while and I didn't like it. So if some of you like it, it might work for you. I'm not saying that it's wrong, it's just that to each his own. Yeah. So let's talk about isolation. Isolation is something which, as I said, to me it's a very critical aspect. Also because I work for a certain extension, WooCommerce subscriptions. So we work largely with dates and times. I work a lot with dates and times. I need to reproduce bugs which occur only on certain dates and times and things like that. So I want a February 29 order, and I can't wait till the next February 29 to do it. I need to change the server time. So and I can't do it on my laptop as well. So I keep using this particular feature. Becomes very important for me because I change the server time and reproduce the bug and start working on it. So for my work, it is a very important feature, but probably it is not. So in that case, you may have to trade off. It's not required a local environment. Isolation is not required. So isolation basically means that there's a certain smaller environment within the host environment. There's a guest environment within which your project resides, and so whatever experiment you do is kind of confined to that environment, and if you break that, it's only that environment that breaks and not the entire system. So why do we need it? I think I've been elaborating again and again on that. So, yeah. What are the types of isolation available? There's virtualization and containerization. For virtualization, Vagrant is used, and for containerization, Docker is really picked up speed, and the world is moving towards it. Okay. So I have a slide on the difference between virtualization and containerization picture. So since it's not coming, I'll just touch upon it. That over the physical host and the operating system, there is a layer of hypervisor which kind of enables the virtualization. And then over that, each virtual machine has an operating system part and a user space, a kernel space and a user space, which kind of contributes to this resource-intensive nature of it. But it also helps that you have a small Linux box inside your Mac or inside your Windows, so you can. It's exactly like having another test machine within it, which kind of. There's not much learning to do once you get it set up and you know all the command and things. You can just go and do. There's not much to learn once you set up. Whereas for containers, there is over the physical host and the operating system, there is a layer of the Docker container engine, which kind of has a mix of the virtualization part and the operating system part, and which is shared by all the containers. So that makes it faster, but at the same time, I'm not sure. I'm still evaluating Docker as an option. I'm not sure whether it yields to all kind of requirements, but for the large part, yes, it works. And that's about it. Yeah. So this is the next slide is about why local by Flywheel. Local by Flywheel is I don't know if many of you have used it. It's a GUI-based option. It's very easy to set up. The speed of setup is fine. It is also Docker-based, though you don't get to see any of. I mean that it is Docker-based when you are using it. It's very easy to use. Adding more sites is very easy to do. For me, I use it a lot, mainly for the blueprint feature of it. It has a certain blueprint feature where you can take a copy of the site and keep it. And when you add a new site, you can just use that blueprint. So you just have, within minutes, you have a WordPress site with WooCommerce installed. For me, WooCommerce subscriptions installed, with products, with few orders, everything. Like just like that, a test site, a running store for me to test this. So if I want that, this feature becomes very useful. I use it a lot for testing migrations and sometimes upgrades from one version to another. So all those things, it's really useful. I will probably show a demo of it. Oh yeah, it's come. Yeah, I'll show a demo of it. It's really nice. Then it has some other features also, like resident certificate, everything is at the click of a button, and it's very easy to use. It provides isolation, and I think there's another new version of local by Flywheel which is like not Docker based, which I'm I think is what they are doing. In that case, they are losing out on a big feature they have. But the good thing about this is that it's like very easy to use. Many features come just at the click of a button. Why Vagrant and Triple V? This is like, I won't say it is easy to set up. Yeah, it is easy sometimes if everything goes through. It's easy, but there are times when it's you encounter multiple problems. Ease of use, yes. Once you set it up, yes, it's really easy to add more sites and do things with it. Features, it has almost everything because it's a Linux box. Right inside, you can SSH into it, and you can just SSH into it and execute all your Linux commands. Or you can have multiple Linux boxes. Maybe a trusty one, Bionic, and this and that, test things out. It's super useful. The clincher, as I said, is the isolation feature. I will be showing a demo of Neighbor 2. And then, yeah, of course, duplication of environments and collaboration also becomes easy with this. Why Docker? I know the world is moving towards Docker, but I entered into the world of Docker mainly because I was trying out something with local climbing and I realized that it's based in Docker and it's not working on local climbing. Yeah, changing beats was not working on that. So that's how I started exploring Docker. And then I was kind of happy with what I see. But there is still more to evaluate. So yeah, but it kind of scores good on all the factors. Ease and speed of setup is really good, fast. Ease of use or adding more sites is that is also really fast. If I'm from essential, resource consumption is really less in comparison to features. Again, almost all features are available. The only concern which I would have is because the kernel is kind of shared between containers. Any change to the kernel of the operating system might affect other apps, other sites which you are working on. Isolation and duplication of environments, again, yes. So, why not have multiple environments? I know. One with isolation, one with localhost. Can they coexist? Yes. But the same problem with the local environments, they can break, but there might be certain cases where you need to use something coexisting. Vagrant and Docker, yes. Various combinations are possible, but you can approach it with the caution that having two localhost environments may cause a clash, but having two different isolated environments will work. I work like that. Local and VDB I use exclusively. Sometimes, between when I'm like one bug on this, one bug on that. How? Yeah, so I'll show you at least two ways in which I use two different environments. I'm not getting into the installation setup and all this, not available online, and you should be able to do it largely. And anyway, if you run into trouble, I'm no expert to solve all those problems. So probably Stack Overflow will do it better. So I have three sites here. This site, debug, is already started. So I have an Astro one. Kind of you have all these things. You can just start. You can see the site. That's it. To go to SSH. So, and then there's something called save. Okay, I have to show this, right? So you can see that there are about 300 odd orders, and 306 is the latest number, so it is 65 odd orders at different stages number. So this is kind of a mini store, which in case I want to store, have a blueprint, so that whenever I want to reproduce something on a mini store, the simplest thing to do is to save it as a blueprint. Minutes it will save a blueprint, and when you want to add a new site, you just say instead of going the usual route of picking your SQL, SQL server and PHP version and all that, you just have to choose from Astro 1 is what we save now. Astro 2. Very imaginative in the name. That's like the kind of time it takes to save a site, the entire site. I'm probably conscious that you don't read my yeah. So I have an Astro 2, and it just came out of that blueprint, and it has so this is a feature which is useful. You want to do kind of small things, right? Don't want to start from scratch, and you want to have an established site and want to do it fast. There are also other things which I use a lot for this. Mail hog is kind of used, and it's one of the important things is that it kind of easily you can set up XDebug on this. And that makes development like quite easy. It's not like so much of setup that you need to do. Just a click and XDebug works beautifully with it. Yeah. So I'll go on to the next one, which is VDB. This is a small demo. Do I have the time for it? Do you have the time for it? So VDB is and the thing I want mainly I wanted to show you, probably show off to you how to use the data feature. So if you see, this is per month subscription product. You can see the first renewal here, which is on January 1, 2020, which is like kind of monthly product. Yeah. So now let us say I'm running, there's a certain client talking about there's a problem, and I see that all my, these are things which we have faced. Sometimes they say only on Friday evenings at a certain time when customers buy this thing, I run into this problem. So I have to wait for a Friday to solve it, even reproduce the bug. So PVV is like kind of magical in this. Now the service date is like December 1, so I can set it to, there's a 28/2, I'll make it 29. So now the service time is at 29, but it's not changed anything for my Mac. Ta-da! The first renewal is for March 31. So I can at 29 and the last day of the month. So this kind of is magical to introduce so many bugs. Just worked wonders for us for that. So that's about it. I think I'll not go too much into the office. I don't have the time for it. What are the possible next steps we could take from here? If you've been using one of these, you must have been using one of these environments. Please try out any of the other environments that I've spoken about. It could be interesting for you. Try out multiple environments simultaneously. Try overcoming one of the limitations of any environment. For me, my current project is that I want to have this date changing in local. Local webline. So maybe you will learn something new. Do share with me. I'd be happy that set you on a path to do something, explore something different.